All right, viewers, I am Evan Sanford. Chris Van Sickle and Carter Davis are with me. This is the Bronco Country Roundup, a special edition conference realignment. And I am just so thrilled. What a wild 18 hours this has been. We saw the reports on Twitter last night from Ross Dellinger, I believe, of Yahoo Sports, announcing, like, hey, Pac-12 is going to expand. It's going to take Boise State. It's going to take San Diego State, Fresno State, and Colorado State, which we will get into that here in a second. But those four teams are joining Washington and Oregon State for the Pac-6 for now, which we'll get into that here in a little bit. And that will start, or that will go into effect on July 1st, 2026. So we have the remainder of this season plus one more additional season in the Mountain West. So we're still kind of in the waiting game a little bit, but like it is official. The day that Bronco fans have been waiting for 20, 30 years. I don't even know how long.
I
But
never thought it would happen. I
It,
didn't think
it's
there's any
this has
way.
been yeah this has been going on for almost as long as I've been alive, and
Hmm.
ever the first season I remember Boise State football was the season before our first Fiesta Bowl, and ever since then I have heard about wanting to go to the Pac-12. So whether or not people want to, not to say a bad word, complain about the Pac-12 not being what it is, I don't give a damn. This is a big moment for this program and for this fan base.
this, yeah, absolutely. You said it. Like it is. It's not the same pack, but my goodness, is this an improvement? I am thrilled. I'm getting. I got goosebumps. Like it has finally happened. We are in the Pac-12.
I
We're in 26, but we're in the pack.
I felt bad last night. Carter posted something on X or Twitter, and I poo pooed it with a meme because I thought this was a fake report, and then boom, I was way off. I've gotten my hopes up so many times for realignment. I just didn't want to get hurt again, but here we go.
Yeah. So the Yahoo Sports reported it first. Then when I saw Chris Vanini report on it, I was like, ooh, okay. All right, we might have some there, and then Thamel reports on it. It's like, oh, this is a done deal.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness!
I,
And
I
then
remember I remember sitting up in bed and like not yelling but audibly making a noise like, oh, like, this is because our name is usually never attached to this type of stuff. It's always other teams. So I
and,
saw Boise State and I was like, we did it, we're a part of something.
finally realignment. Like we get a realignment win. Oh my goodness! It has been like just so many, just like honestly, it's like a kick in the pants every single time. Every time once Boise State gets left behind, they have like clawed and you know what? That's also it's not just Boise State, it's Fresno State too. They have clawed and scratched their way, Boise and Fresno, to get this opportunity. These two schools have done so much with so little, and now they're well, I mean, I've seen we'll get into the revenue here in a little bit, but we're going to actually have some resources here, and that's what all those Power Five teams didn't want is Boise and Fresno with resources. San Diego and Colorado State, they have resources. They're honestly,
Yeah.
they're coming along for their market. They're the wealthiest schools in the Mountain West, and by a long shot, their resources are already on par with Power Five. So like, it moves the needle for them as well, but they have no track record of being able to capitalize on it. So yay, but
Yeah, I mean, Mike Prater today was kind of talking about like he didn't get Colorado State, and I kind of agree. But I mean, I truly don't know why Colorado State was picked over UNLV. That's probably some inner thoughts of
I
the Pac-2. I'm not sure there.
Yeah, I think I actually saw something about that would make sense. I forget who it was, so I can't credit the outlet, but I believe Colorado State can generate about 800,000 viewers for their games because they get the Denver metro area. They have a huge
Mm,
alumni base. It is a I don't know what the student body is of that school, but it's a large school. So yeah, they
yeah,
got market saturation. So honestly, I think that's why they're there. Like they have a brand new
that makes sense.
stadium, and it's got like I don't know, they fill it with like three people.
No, I was about to say they have a whole brand new stadium, but they don't do much. But I do agree. I have heard that they do have a fan base. There just hasn't been much to be excited about. Where
Yeah.
UNLV, they're at the top of the game right now, and nobody's excited about it really. So
That-
I
so-
get that could be it.
Yeah, and that's kind of going back to why UNLV gets left out. I think it was Jay Tuss made a very good point online saying that you don't need UNLV to get into Las Vegas. Like the
Yeah.
Big 12 has their title game there. Like UNLV, unfortunately, I mean, and I don't really have anything against UNLV except from that one person on Twitter, well, two people on Twitter who were having a meltdown today.
They were.
Yeah.
Rebel girl, go to her page. That's a trip.
Oh, don't even get me started. It makes me so happy.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
just-
when that UNLV guy's like, we don't like her either. I'm like, okay, I can get behind.
Yeah,
this
no,
fan base now.
all the UNLV fans are like, she's a moron. It's like, yeah, no, do not associate her with us. And you know why I don't? Because I've met some really, really nice and kind UNLV fans. So no, she is just her own little basket of craziness. But still, the tears were just so delicious. Anyways,
It's
that's a meme somewhere. But that's the South Park meme. Yeah, those sweet tears. So Colorado State does bring a huge market. They have some basketball success. Otherwise, I don't know how much they push the needle in terms of success, and even the increased revenue, the increased resources of the Pac-12. I don't know how much better we can expect Colorado State to get. They've got according to Jeremiah Dickey, they've got a motivated AD. San Diego State, it's kind of the similar thing with Las Vegas, where there's a saturated market there, and no one really cares about San Diego State. However, they've been able to at least accomplish a little bit more. They're motivated to get better. They've got good coaching, so I would expect San Diego State to actually improve. Colorado State, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Fresno and Boise State, absolutely. Like the Battle of the Milk Can is going to be freaking awesome.
Yeah,
and they're going to take those resources, build up, and I'm hoping that both these teams can be like juggernauts for years to come, because that's going to make that rivalry it's finally going to give us that true like rivalry game, like Michigan, Ohio State, except our own version of it. Like that would be great. And I met a lot of Fresno fans when they traveled to Boise for the Mountain West Championship game. I was actually on a flight next to a bunch of Fresno fans going to the 17 or 18 Mountain West Championship game. They were all like really cool people. Every fan base has their bad apples, but like I've never actually met in person a bad Fresno State fan. And so when they don't play us, I like to see them, kind of succeed. And do we have a guest?
Yeah,
I think we do. You do. He's Grayson. Come here, real fast. Come here. Sorry, guys, keep talking.
Oh, no, that's all right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, everybody. San Diego State, they don't really have a crowded market when it comes to teams, but just it seems like nobody cares. But hopefully they can get better. But overall, I think you got the cream of the crop of the Mountain West. And if they leave out UNLV, I mean, really, they have been good the past 2 years. The second Barry Odom leaves, I think they fall down again. I'm not too concerned about it. We got the top four consistent teams in sports and revenue and athletics. So I think we killed it. And I think, actually, I'll save that for when we transition to who we should add.
Yeah, no. And so viewers, actually, like just today, real quick, we're gonna touch on like a little bit more on the teams, the breakdown of the current Pac-12, who we should add. We're gonna do that last, actually.
Yeah.
We're going to get to the nitty-gritty right now and talk about the money. We're going to talk about the CFP as well. So just a little breakdown. But real quick, before we get to revenue, actually, just give me in one word, Karter or Chris, describe how you are feeling right now about this announcement.
Let me look up a word. Let me look up a word of what I'm searching for.
More optimistic than I felt in a while. I feel like you got the big four now. Sorry, my son is playing with the pterodactyl. And
You can just keep talking. It's good.
We just caught the last boat out of the dock. I mean, I think the gap it was already growing, and maybe it's not gonna catch up. It probably won't, but this was the last chance of ever getting close.
Yeah. And well, Chris, this is a family-friendly podcast. What's your son's name?
My son's name is Grayson, and all of a sudden he's shy and doesn't want to come over here. I'm sure he will at some point. So I apologize, but he's a sweet little guy.
Well, we would love the cameo. Is that the right word?
He's not usually shy, so I'm sure he will. But optimistic. Great stuff coming. Go ahead.
I love it.
My word is blissful. And the reason I say that is just because, as we talked about before, this is everything we wanted. So all the people on the Bronco Country board are on Twitter saying it's a lateral move. It's barely a step up. I don't give a damn because, as Chris says, this was the last boat. This was the last helicopter out of Saigon. This was it. And Boise State is in a position to build this conference. We are going to be working with 5 other schools to make it as powerful as possible. Yep. This is the best opportunity we have ever gotten in realignment that we know of, and we took advantage of it. So there is absolutely no reason to be upset about today. So I'm blissful. This is great. This has been a great day.
I love it. And you actually give me the perfect segue to get into the revenue. So the nitty gritty kind of boring details is that it's going to cost all 4 universities a $17 million exit fee. Now we can expect the Pac-12 to kick in. We don't know how much, but that's what Jeremiah Dickey has at least alluded to. Then there's a $43 million, I believe it's called a poaching fee, that the conference will have to pay the Mountain West. So in total, $111 million excuse me, are going to the Mountain West Conference from the 4 schools and the Pac-12. And it's probably going to be a good amount of money, like just coming from the Pac-12 purely, from that war chest that they built throughout those lawsuits over the summer, between all the schools that had exited, which that seemed like the tackiest thing in the world. Why would those schools try and hang on to the PAC assets? But neither here nor there. They built a war chest over the summer, and they're using it. They went out and acquired us and 3 other schools. So $111 million going to the Mountain West. Revenue. It's an immediate boom for Boise State. I don't want to speculate too much, but I have seen the word like double our revenue thrown out. But again, we don't know the nitty gritty details of that. There's going to be a new media deal. The Pac-12 assets are worth way more than the Mountain West. It's an opportunity to control your own destiny, like what Karter just said. Work into streaming. Work with 5 other schools to build this conference up from the ground up. We're looking to add essentially the best of the rest. We've got 6 very good programs that add a lot, that push the needle financially. And now we can try and add more programs. They need to add at least 2 by 2026 that add more than they take. And we'll kind of speculate on what programs might do that. But like, you can be rest assured, it's not going to be like I hate to kick them when they're down. Like in New Mexico or in Reno. It's not going to be one of those schools that just kind of don't add anything. They don't add like a media market. They don't add success. They don't add viewership. They don't add anything in terms of revenue. We're going to go out and get partner schools that help build the PAC into truly a best of the rest conference. There's 5 champions. 5 conference champions get into the CFP, and so a best of the rest conference. You better believe that's going to be an auto bid. So
exactly, yeah, and that's some of the arguments I've heard people say is like, oh, it's a lateral move. You're not an automatic qualifier. It's like, worst case scenario, we lose the automatic qualifier bid. We're the best group of 5. It would have our conference champion would have to have 3 losses for the American or anybody else to take over. I truly believe that, and I think we eventually take some teams from the American. So it would take a liberty level schedule and everybody else dropping for us to not get it. And then best case scenario, we keep the automatic qualifier because there's been reports that that's a thing. And so revenue just goes up more. But I'm going to take my spot now since I'm already yapping away. But so for revenue, people are talking about like media deals, absolutely. But I think you need to think about locally too. What type of impact does this have on the local economy?
Ooh.
How, season ticket sales, guarantee they're already going up from getting this done. 2 more years of advertising. We're in the Pac-12. I truly believe that we could maybe break a season ticket record. If Spencer Danielson keeps doing what he's doing, how much more excited are boosters now that we're going to be in a stronger conference? What new boosters could we gain? The local economy is not being focused on enough. And I think the way Boise is growing, I think this is coming at the perfect time. So media deal, yeah. TV money, yeah. But I think boosters, fan attendance, fan money going into the collective, this is going to have a seismic effect on Boise as a whole.
Honestly, the amount of energy that Boise has experienced with this program the last, like, I don't know, 8 months or so. This is just another shot of a pure adrenaline in the arm of the heartbeat was already going at 100 miles an hour. Now it's going at 300. Yeah. This is awesome. Now, before I want to build on what you said, but before I do that, Chris, did you have anything to add?
I did, and I totally agree with Karter. I think this is going to energize the fan base. I did on the way home here on the Prater in the ball game. Jeremiah Dickey's interview, and he already said there was a number of donations today. How big those donations are, who knows? But I'm willing to bet they were donations we would not have gotten if this announcement didn't come out. So I totally agree. I think this is going to fire this fan base up maybe even more than we've ever seen, which is exciting. Could push it to whole new levels. I think it's significant that the Mountain West and this Pac-12 are coming, their media rights are coming due at the same time. And we just jumped ahead of the line. Like, it's not even close anymore. That the Pac-12 is going to get treated way better than the Mountain West.
It's the conference of the West. It is really the only conference of the West now after they completely cannibalized the Mountain West. We'll see what the Mountain West does, but
right. Yeah, there are some Big Ten teams in the West, but that doesn't carry over as much, I think.
Right.
Because basically Pac-12 after dark is back. All those late time games, that's going to be there. That's advertising, that's other stuff too, but not to interrupt, Chris. Sorry.
No, you're good. No, I agree. And the Pac-12 is going to bring something that is unique, and I think they need to absolutely capitalize on that. And I'll be interested to see how creative they get with their streaming, and if they go back to ESPN, great. But maybe you go to Amazon or Netflix, and you say, hey, we're taking a chance on you. You better pay us a little extra. And I think this. I mean, the sky's the limit. Who knows what to expect, and it's very exciting.
Oh, yeah. And, well, now I want to build off what you said, because I'm going to be corny for a second, because Jeremiah Dickey has really actually proven if you build it, they will come. So not to be super corny with the Field of Dreams quote, but unlike our last AD who played golf most of the time, Jeremiah Dickey has been actually accomplishing things for Boise State. And so when he's proven that, hey, he can push the needle in a number of different areas, the boosters will show up. There's energy. This program is going somewhere instead of just treading water and hoping we can get sitting and hoping we can get a bid if we ask nicely. Like, no, he is going out and seizing on every opportunity that he can to improve Boise State's standing in the realignment world, in sport, in athletics, in college athletics. And yeah, if you build it, they will come. So just like you said today, a number of donations, and I bet that continues throughout the week. I bet that continues throughout like the entire football season. If Boise State makes a run like we hope they will and makes it to the CFP, sky's the limit. They're going to turn that into a marketing like gold mine. So I love that. Now transitioning to what I wanted to build off of what you said, Karter, all that revenue, that local economy, that's good. That's not just going to be good for the local economy, but it's going to be good for Boise State in the sense of that's more sports, like actual like varsity sports being added, like baseball and wrestling. That's good for facilities. That's good for salaries, so we can keep our coaches from being poached, and that's good for recruiting. Karter, I actually saw. Actually, Chris or Karter. I don't know if it was you that just posted on the Blue Turf board about like the possible recruiting boom that.
I think that was Brandon Huffman. That was a article by him that had nothing to do with us.
Oh, okay. Well, I misread it then. So Brandon Huffman just wrote about it. I briefly saw the headline before we jumped into this meeting, and I wanted to make a point of saying like that's going to be huge for recruiting. The premier conference of the West, all those resources, that's going to make some kids think twice about like, mate, do I want to go to this school where I'm going to have to play all of my away games on the East Coast, or I can stay home.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
All right. Well, that was a lot, but we still have so much more. Well, actually, gentlemen, before I transition to the CFP talk, was there anything from the nitty-gritty details that we might have missed?
I don't think we missed anything, but I do just want to hammer home one more point. Like this is not a lateral move, and there's a lot of people saying that. And if you say that, I truly don't know how you're saying that. Like I get
they don't know ball.
Yeah, they don't. And I don't want to insult people on the board, but honestly, it's like there's a promise of more money, and Jeremiah Dickey himself said that's enough already, which I think it is. But there's a promise of more money. There's a promise of more exposure. There's a promise of better local economy. There's a promise of better teams down the road, basketball and football. There's talks of Gonzaga, St. Mary's coming in as members. That we could bring Memphis. We could bring. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So excited.
But there's so much potential and there's so much good out of this. And so it's like, I get it's not the Pac-12 of old, but it doesn't have to be. We can remake the Pac-12 in our image, and that's going to bring a lot of benefit.
And Jeremiah Dickey just said that in his press conference, rebuild in our image. We are now a voting member of the Pac-12 with like-minded programs, and they're going to try and add teams that push the needle financially, that push the conference really back into that Power 5 conversation. Maybe it is a best of the rest, but this is not a lateral move. If you think it's a lateral move, you need help.
And quite frankly, I don't know what you expect because we're not getting invited to the SEC or Big 12. So just have a little happiness in your life.
Yeah, and I mean, invites to the Big 12 could happen down the road because we don't know what's going to happen. But the thing is, as you said, Chris, this was the last lifeline. So now we're there. So if the Big 12 does want to become bigger and absorb the Pac-12, we're there. We're a part of that. Yeah. We are literally, like Dickey says, we are the front door or the front porch or whatever he says of Idaho. The Pac-12 is the front porch of realignment. Mm-hmm. If any big conference wants to get bigger, it goes after the Pac-12. Like I truly believe that. So this is just benefit all around.
Yep.
And at least at a minimum, now we don't have to go to Laramie in November anymore after this year.
No more Albuquerque.
No more Albuquerque. Yeah. No more Reno.
Well, I hate to use the phrase, but you trim the fat.
No, we did. Boise State did.
So all these schools that, like they don't get the fan base very excited to like, oh, we got a home game. Oh, who's it against? Oh, it's New Mexico. All right. So we're gonna be gone by halftime. All right, whatever.
Exactly.
Like that's almost a thing of the past. Now we get like premier opponents, premier conference, and I'm just giddy. I am giddy. Like Viewers, normally we have a little prep time beforehand, and if it seems a little bit rough, it's because we're just going in with our excitement. We didn't prepare. There's no way to prepare for this.
There's no way to prepare.
Okay.
Yeah,
no way.
Yeah. But let's keep structure. Let's move on to who we want to add. Let's keep this together.
Well,
I could ramble about how amazing this is for hours.
I know. Well, real quick, I think we've kind of already alluded to it, but the CFP. But before we get to teams that we want to add, I think we've alluded to it already. But this only helps Boise State's case.
Yes.
For CFP, best of the rest, even if they lose the PQ. Go ahead.
No, yeah, absolutely. Like I was saying before, it would take a miracle for I think for an American team to get it, especially from who we eventually add, which I've already kind of said out loud. Like, the MAC is the MAC. Good for Northern Illinois, but I don't think I truly don't think they're going to carry over. I don't think any MAC team can. CUSA is CUSA. Our only real challenge is the American, and from what I'm going to say here soon, that's not going to matter. So. Power 5 or not, that spot is ours, basically.
Yeah, the American, and I will say the Fun Belt. They might have a say in it too, but they'll still get like the G5 auto bid. So there's still a place for them. There's still a place for like the best of the rest. So this, if anything, this improves Boise State's chances, and maybe it helps the stronger, maybe American. We're about to talk about that, and the Sun Belt. The Mountain West is going to be down bad.
Mountain West is over. Mountain West was a very top-heavy conference, and it's going to be until we all leave, and then it's who's the top team in the Mountain West besides the 4? UNLV.
Yeah.
And then Barry Odom leaves. What happens then?
Air Force.
There's talks Air Force goes to the American because of Navy and Army.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think that makes sense.
So I mean, maybe you have and then even if UNLV does continue to be good, you're the best of probably a Sun Belt level conference.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was a lot of talk of them like, oh, they need to go add Montana State, North Dakota. It's like,
don't do it.
I was seeing people say that about the Pac-12.
I saw that too.
Don't even think about that. That is so beneath. I always think it's so funny too that we're Boise State fans talking about market, talking about viewership, all that sort of stuff. The same things that kept us out, we're now holding them down. But you know what? That's our privilege. I don't give a damn. Fuck them. Oh, damn it! I don't know if we've ever swore, but now we have. That's my bad. But still, come on, we're not Mountain West anymore. We're getting top group of 5 teams. The conference needs to be stronger. Montana State don't do that. I'm sorry for swearing. That's my bad.
And truth be told, I don't fully understand why those teams would want to join a down bad Mountain West conference. Like, they own the FCS level. Yeah. They're like going up there up to the FBS and the Mountain West maybe adds a little bit to their bottom line. Doesn't help them with recruiting. And it puts them in purgatory for playoff access where they already have playoff access. They have their niche. I don't understand why they would want to ruin that.
I don't think they're going to. I think they are perfectly content staying where they are, constantly playing their rivalry games, making the playoffs, and raking in money. If they join the Mountain West, they have to go to these places that they probably don't want to go to, and it could be better, but I can't imagine it's that much.
It's going from a place of where there's some like prominence, because people tune into the FCS playoff. People watch Montana State, and that means something for the Big Sky. Versus Mountain West purgatory, where you go from it just means more to it means nothing.
It true. I hate to do that to the Mountain West teams because I mean their fan bases are passionate like ours, but you're right. There's no reason to give up your constant playoff berths and actually have stuff that matters. To go 6-6 to get rolled over by some Power 5s and play in Albuquerque, like it just doesn't matter. It doesn't, and so
Well, in the Big Sky recently, they've been starting to get on ESPN. Yeah, maybe it might be a little bit later at night, but I've watched plenty of more Big Sky games in the last 2 years than ever before.
Yeah, Big Sky on ESPN is better than Mountain West on True TV or Mountain West Network. Like,
I'll watch
Yeah.
Montana versus somebody over San Jose versus somebody. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
it's not even
Absolutely.
close.
Absolutely.
and before now, Carter, I'm gonna let you just list all your wish list of teams here. You get to go first, but
Yeah.
what I want to do real quick is just kind of I don't know if it's condolences is the right word, but just throw out to any Mountain West fans who are watching this that we honestly we know how you feel right now, and this
Yes.
sucks. And to just the average human being who is watching us be jubilant over our team finally getting like our heart's desire for the last like million years. Yeah, this sucks. I wish you nothing but the best. I am truly sorry. And
Yes.
I hope that your program finds success, whether they stay in the Mountain West or if they go to like the American or whatever they end up doing. So
Yeah.
wanted to throw that out there so you don't think we're all just a bunch of classless jerks.
No, I agree. There's actually a Boise State profile out there called SSN Boise State. You guys should go follow it. I'm not connected to it at all, but you should go follow
Not
it.
at all.
Obviously, not at all. Don't worry about that. But they put out a post today that was basically similar. Of like, this is something that Boise State fans have been dealing with for 2 decades now, just being strung along. And it's a great day for us that we don't have to do that. But that's what makes this so bittersweet. Is that this is so sweet, but at the same time the pit in my stomach that I felt when Houston got that spot over us in the Big 12, which I think did happen. I think that was true.
Yeah.
It's the same for people, I think, in New Mexico, Wyoming, Nevada, even UNLV right now. I truly think that.
Yeah. So,
but on to better topics, the teams I want.
Yes, Carter, you've been jonesing. Go for
it. So I'll start out slow first. I think Gonzaga and St. Mary's for basketball. Maybe one or the other, though, because there have been concerns about the basketball. It's second tier to football, but it still does matter. We brought San Diego State. We brought Colorado State. We could still do some outside scheduling, but I think Gonzaga, St. Mary's.
And you know what? Colorado State has seen some success on the court recently, so that may be one way that like they can actually add to the conference besides having that huge media market.
Exactly. But I think people worrying about basketball are just picking it, like kind of cherry picking. Like this was a football move through and through. That the football controls college sports. But anyways, I think what you should probably do is only go to 8 or 9 members of the PAC. Because I think there is benefit in having a lean, mean conference that is strong and doing some out of conference games. So,
and the more teams you have, the more you have to divide that revenue.
Yeah. Exactly. And I don't want to do that. So, just thinking of who we could do. I mean, I don't want to say UNLV, so I'm not going to, but they would probably be, if it wasn't for this team, they would be it. Because I just think you want that market, but how valuable is the market? We don't know. So UNLV is right there. But I think you have to get Memphis. I think you have to. It's a must get. I think that raises it basically to a Power 5 level, I think, because I think they're a Power 5 conference team.
Oh, absolutely.
Not to mention the basketball program is.
I mean, that's football, basketball. That goes hand in hand. They're a strong team. I don't think the travel would be that bad. I think it would be shorter than, like, I've heard some USF. I don't know if I want to do that. That's cross country. That's gross to me.
They don't push the needle enough for me, even though it's a large market. They don't push the needle enough for me to like you've got a purely West Coast or Western U.S. like conference, and then Florida.
Yeah, I don't want to turn into the ACC. I don't want to.
I'm gonna cross this out over here. 1 second. All right.
No, honestly,
guys.
No, I wrote down a bunch of teams, just like you guys. USF is written because I've seen that school float around. I'm personally like,
no, I don't want to become the ACC. And speaking of the ACC, I think you try to get one of the 2 ACC schools. I don't think Stanford will do it just because of their eliteness. I think they'd rather go independent or cut schools. I think we could get Cal. I think Cal is up there because you just want a team in that area. They don't have to be good. We need people to work, like have some practice games on, and that's Cal. But we need somebody there. But they're kind of a fringe. So Memphis, Cal over here. probably one of the Texas schools, Texas State, UTSA, something like that.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Tulane, maybe you do get one of those Texas schools. Maybe you do get Cal, something around that area, I think.
Tulane has a huge endowment. That is a huge alumni base. They are straight up in New Orleans. Is that right? Which is that?
Yep. They're in New Orleans. Yeah, but I worry about travel. I don't know what it's like to fly from New Orleans to Boise. It could be comparable to Memphis. I'm not sure, but Memphis, some sort of Texas school. If you can get Cal, great. If not, you get Tulane. If you can't get that, fallback is UNLV.
Now, just for clarification, in case somebody is watching doesn't understand, the only way Cal falls back to us is if the ACC explodes.
Yeah.
There's an ongoing lawsuit that they want to get out, and Clemson and Florida State
and Clemson have the lawsuit with the
ACC. Just
in case you have 2 years to do this, so that's kind of why Cal is being said, but they're off. It would be nice because they are a Power 5 program, even though they kind of don't play like it, but they are that. So it would be great to have. But, Memphis, Tulane, one of the Texas schools. If you can get Cal, probably cut Tulane or one of the Texas schools.
You guys are going to hate me for this, but my dream scenario is actually Stanford and Cal.
That's fine with me.
Well, I've cut I honestly, I just had a family friend who went to Stanford, and so I've kind of always pulled for them. They are absolutely elite in the Olympic sports, and it adds a lot of prestige to the conference to have Stanford. The academic snobbery, I've heard that, and honestly, isn't that what Boise State, in 2015, they got the research designation. Now it's expanding. Don't you want kind of that academic credibility? You kind of want that, at least. Maybe that's just me.
I think that's all one-sided.
I could not. Honestly, I could not care less when it comes to academics. When people insult Boise State calling them a trucker school, it's this is a sports conversation. I don't care what we were or what our academic rating is. It's it'd be nice to be better, but it just doesn't. I don't go to bed thinking about what's our academic ranking. I go to bed thinking what's going to happen with the football team, or now that we're in the Pac-12, who are we going to add? I worry about that.
And academic ranking is not based on quality of education. It's based on programs offered, the amount of programs offered, the size of the graduate college, amount of research that is published and produced, which is why Boise State went from an unranked university nationally to when we got the research designation from the Carnegie designation in 2015. They went from unranked immediately to ranked because now they're publishing. It's a research university. It's all about volume, not quality of education. I got 2 degrees from Boise State. I will go toe-to-toe with anyone.
You have degrees from a Pac-12 school?
I have 2 of them.
Look at that. Look at that.
Well,
that's crazy.
I was going to say, I will go toe-to-toe with anyone who doubts the quality of my education, because that gets under my skin so much. That type of academic discussion, because I got a great education at Boise State. But anyways, we're on to the fun bits. Chris, who do you want to see?
A couple very similar to Karter. Like I said, Memphis is that's A1, no doubt. First call I'm making is Memphis. Good program, great location, checks all the boxes, no doubt about it. I agree with Tulane. It's in New Orleans. It's not in some podunk little town in Louisiana that you got to walk through a swamp to get to. So I like Tulane. A couple other teams I put on here just to get out of the box a little bit. I did say UTSA, Texas San Antonio. I think it's important to get into Texas. That's obviously a hotbed of recruiting. Let's get out of the box here. But how about Appalachian State or
I would love that.
Marshall? Let's go crazy here, guys. Troy.
I do get that, but then I think you run into the traveling thing again.
Yeah,
those would be great schools. But out of the box, I love that. I would love that.
And then I had to look up where this one's at. Liberty is in Virginia, so maybe not so much Liberty. But I wrote it down. Why not?
Why not? Yeah.
I would rather go to Huntington before Liberty.
Yeah. But I start with Memphis, then there's a long gap, and you go Tulane. I like USF. I think it would be good to have a footprint in Florida, but I get the travel, and they just don't bring much outside of the recruiting in Florida. The basketball's nothing. Maybe you can educate me on that in the comments, but I haven't seen them do much in basketball. And football, they've had some nice moments, but nothing real special. So I do have USF there, but I wouldn't bet on it.
You know, Chris, we did get some responses to the post that I talked about earlier. So I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay.
So you talked about what schools are most likely to join. You listed those. How do you think? How soon? What vibe are you getting of how soon we get some new schools into the PAC?
Very soon, next couple months. And Jeremiah Dickey spoke about that they've got to get working on it. Because just like we can't join the Pac-12 next year because it would cost so much more. These other places are going to need a year to finish out the rest of some of their contract at least. Yep. So soon, I think within the next couple months, you'll see at least 2 teams added.
I agree.
But I would put, going back to what you spoke about a little bit, Karter, I would go 9 schools. Then you're facing every school once a year. There's none of this, off year. Somebody has to go to Laramie in November, somebody doesn't, or that kind of crap. I guess Coach Choate in Nevada was just complaining about San Diego State schedule, and you don't have any of that. Everyone's
not going to have to worry about that anymore.
No. Everybody faces everybody. Go 9 schools, 4 out of conference. Nice, clean, and easy. But to answer your question, Karter, soon, very soon.
I agree. I saw some reports today saying that Gould, I think the AD of the Pac-12, has already heard significant interest from a lot of schools.
Yep.
And this happened, Dickey said that on Monday this week, he didn't think he was going to be standing at that podium on Thursday. So I think this happens quick. I think they already know what teams they already kind of want. And so I think it's soon within the next few months. I agree.
Yeah, Dickey's timeline was kind of interesting. He really got into a little bit more at the press conference, and you guys should go watch that. I posted it earlier. It's it'll get you fired up. Jeremiah Dickey is a visionary. But it sounds like the talks have been here ever since the scheduling arrangement with the Mountain West fell through, which was a couple weeks ago. And then last night, sounds like the Pac-12 said, put up or shut up. This is it. Are you in or out? And they're in. So
yeah, moves very fast. So I agree with what you guys said. This is going to move very quickly.
Yeah,
and then it's going to take forever because then we'll have it. It's going to hurry up and wait and see if everything gets goes through. If the Big 12 decides to cannibalize or whatever. But hey, at least we're part of that now.
Yeah.
So I guess just to kind of round us off with the schools, the whole ACC thing, the lawsuit, that's really kind of in the way of a potential Stanford-Cal bounce back to the PAC. So for the sake of argument, I'm just going to say they're not an option. It would be lovely, but they're not going to be an option. So the other schools that I wrote down are UTSA, Tulane, Memphis, USF, Texas State, and we can get into some of the other options potentially from the Mountain West. But one thing that I read is that the conference has an opportunity to maybe replicate what some of the other conferences are doing, where they're trying to get into the Eastern time slot, a Central time slot, and we're already in the West and Mountain time slot, so that you can have from sun up to sundown, you are on TV. Your conference is on TV. There are games being played. And so you're in every time slate. So in that regard, the USFs of the world, they make sense. From travel standpoint, does the school add enough? I don't know. So that's the reason why USF makes sense. I think Memphis has to be a priority. I would like Tulane because, New Orleans, I think the travel expenditure would be worth it to have a market like New Orleans that isn't overly saturated. It's a massive population. You just have the Saints there. You do have LSU, but Tulane has a strong enough alumni base, a strong enough fan base to like. It's carved itself a niche right there in New Orleans. It has a huge endowment. That is a wealthy school. So I think Tulane really helps push the needle there. Memphis, Tulane, that would be kind of my dream. And I think you do have to get into Texas. UTSA or Texas State or UTSA, Texas State. The other one was UTEP. No, you don't do UTEP.
No, you don't. Are you thinking North Texas?
No,
yeah,
North
Some
Texas.
people are saying.
Yeah,
I don't know about that, but that would be the third. I think North Texas is the.
I was
yeah.
not impressed with North Texas after the bowl game.
And their fans.
Yeah.
I would lean more towards UTSA. There's a better track record, and I believe they're pretty darn good at basketball. And well, San Antonio is also a huge market. So Memphis, Tulane, UTSA, those would be my three schools. But then if we get, let's just pretend we get none of those. Who from the Mountain West would you try and take with us?
UNLV.
UNLV. That's it.
That's all. There's nothing else. Air Force.
We would need one more. I guess. After that, I don't know. I truly think the Mountain West is a dead conference after
you
UNLV.
guys wouldn't take Hawaii?
No.
High school stadium.
Yeah, I feel bad for the Warriors, but I think this was a killing blow to their team. Or they go independent. I don't know how they could afford it, but no.
Yeah, no. I love Hawaii, love the Rainbow Warriors, but yeah, this is almost a death sentence for them.
Yeah.
UNLV, maybe Air Force to have just that credibility of a military academy, but.
Air Force is just so limited. They can't do the transfer portal at all. Their basketball is just unfortunately very bad. And quite frankly, I'm tired of playing the triple option a whole lot. So
triple option chop block. You're tired of seeing our linemen get injured.
Some knee orthopedic surgeons are going to be very sad if Air Force leaves.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about any Mountain West teams I want to bring. San Jose State, no.
Utah State,
no.
I can't
basketball at least.
Nah, they can go to hell.
No. UNLV is the only school that actually makes sense, and they still might get the call. Huh. All right. Well, I guess that kind of brings us to the end.
There's another question. I want this one to be quick because I know we wanted to kind of end this as soon as we could. Not as soon as we could, but there's places that we got to be today. But another person, I do want to shout out IF Bronk, who's the one that talked about how soon the schools, and JBSU 88. I don't know if he's the best case scenario for schools coming or best case scenario for Boise State. I'm going to go with best case scenario for Boise State because that's the text that was put down here. It says, what is the best case scenario you see going to the PAC? What is the average scenario? And what is the worst case scenario going to the PAC? So I think we could all just give a 1-minute response. I'll start with Evan. Best case going to the PAC. What's the average scenario you think for Boise State in the PAC? And, what's worst case scenario maybe? What do you think?
Okay. Best case scenario is that we get Stanford, Cal, and one of Memphis or Tulane. I like the 9 conference, but if we're going to go with what Dickey said of 2 to 4, if we go on the heavier side of that with 4 teams, Stanford, Cal, Tulane, and Memphis, that's the best case scenario. You've got a very strong conference with Olympic sports, football, basketball, and then you can also add Gonzaga and St. Mary's as basketball only members. That's a power conference in both basketball and football and pushes the needle financially in all aspects. The average scenario, I think the average scenario is kind of what we're describing, where we are able to control our own destiny. We add top group of 5 schools and become a best of the rest conference, which is honestly that. If that's the average scenario, this is a home run. And then worst case scenario is that Washington State and Oregon State, all of a sudden they get bids to the Big 12 and say, see you later. And then the Pac-6 becomes the Pac-4, falls apart, and then we end up right back in the Mountain West.
No, knock on wood.
Yeah. Oh boy, that went dark quickly.
Yeah.
We'll just say that's the dark one. We don't need to repeat that. That's the dark one for everyone.
Well, that worst case scenario, if that's the dark one, then worst case scenario is the Big 12 decides to just come in and be like, okay, we're going to pick and choose all these schools. And now we're in a gigantic, like 18 team, or what at that point, that would be like 21 team conference.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, I thought you were going to leave us out of I don't think going to the Big 12 is that bad.
Well,
fine.
it's
I get your point. It's crowded. There's too many cooks in the kitchen. I get that. So we might be stuck in mediocrity forever, but.
Well, too many cooks, but I'm worried about like how much revenue would have to be split amongst how many schools. Does it push the needle financially? And then the travel expenditures of sending volleyball to Florida, sending volleyball to West Virginia's in the is West Virginia in the Big 12?
West Virginia's in the Big 12.
Yeah. So West Virginia and then all around the country, like all these different teams, like the travel expenses. Would Boise State then have to cut programs to keep up with those costs? Is there enough money to go around with how many schools would be in that conference? But then you're still in a power conference. So yeah,
I got you. All right. Chris, anything best, average, worst that you would add, change from Evans at all?
Not much. No. Best, Memphis, Tulane, Texas team.
That's the best.
I mean, that's okay. No, I'll put that as an average. Sorry, I was distracted there.
I was about to say, like, Cal Stanford seems pretty good.
Yeah, Cal Stanford, yes, and then I do think it's important to include the Gonzaga St. Mary. That would be an elite basketball conference. Average would be Memphis, Tulane, Texas team, and then I mean, worst case scenario, we backfill with Mountain West teams, but I just don't see how that's going to happen. There's got to be teams already calling and begging to get in. So,
I don't think anything different. You know, get Gonzaga, St. Mary, get Cal Stanford. I think you also get Memphis. In that best case scenario situation.
Yeah.
Average is everything we've said. Worst is everything we've said. Yep.
Well, who knows? Maybe like with the ACC falling apart, the SEC tells Florida State, we ain't got room, and maybe Florida State to the Pac-12. Maybe.
I mean, that's shooting beyond, I think, our cosmic understanding of the universe.
I'll take whatever you're drinking.
Exactly.
Goodness.
Well,
a little early there, buddy.
On that completely ridiculous note, it is time to end. Thank you for joining us for this special edition of the Bronco Country Roundup Conference Realignment. We are in the Pac-12. Go Broncos, and good night.